In a Shanghai shopping mall, an advertisement featuring Yang Mi stands surrounded by dozens of oversized coats suspended in midair. It's a sight that sends a chill down your spine. Is this merely an artistic choice, or is it an eerie, unsettling omen? Meanwhile, the Mo Long case has taken a far more heartbreaking turn. News has emerged that his beloved dog, Huo Tui, was likely killed back in 2020. The dog seen since then was nothing more than a substitute. When Mo Long choked out the words, "I'm sorry" to him during a live stream, it sounded less like a confession and more like a strangled cry for help. When you zoom out, a much darker reality begins to surface. In the world of elite art schools, a deep-seated, systemic rot has taken hold. Students aren't just being taught, they are being molded and broken in systematically. Culture itself has been censored to the point where all that remains are conspiracies and palace-style intrigue. All of this points to a brutal truth. The environment is sick, far worse than we ever imagined. Today, let's start with those coats hanging in the air and uncover what is truly hidden beneath the surface. Hey guys, Sean here. Have you ever seen something that's supposed to be just a normal ad, but for some reason, it just feels off? Over the last few days, a series of strange events has been unfolding, from visuals that feel like cryptic symbols and apologies that don't ring true, to dark stories slowly bubbling to the surface. Today, we're starting with a single image that's been giving everyone the creeps, and then we're gonna follow the trail somewhere much deeper. Because you never know how deep this hole goes. First, let's talk about the story that's been blowing up online over the last 2 days. It's a massive cashmere coat exhibit at a shopping mall in Shanghai. Before we dive in, just take a look at this footage. What's your first impression? Honestly, the first thing I noticed was that massive Yang Mi ad with the black background hanging in the main hall. On its own, there's nothing really weird about it. But here's the catch. The poster is surrounded by dozens of long coats hanging from the ceiling. They're just empty, swaying unevenly as if they're floating in midair. People who are actually there are saying the vibe is incredibly eerie, like something straight out of an otherworld. Some people described it as walking straight into a Qing Dynasty zombie flick. Others went even further, saying the whole setup looked like some kind of bizarre ritual. Now, some have pointed out that the design might be inspired by Golconda, a piece by the Belgian surrealist painter René Magritte, you know, the one featuring a sky full of men in overcoats and bowler hats, looking like they're raining down from above. But given the timing, with everyone still on edge over Yu Menglong's passing, these hanging human figures feel incredibly insensitive and deeply disturbing. It's hard not to let your mind go straight to that one loaded word, offering. Someone on X leaked that the organizers might have realized they messed up because they scrambled to make changes to the display. But it's too late. The psychological impact of that image has already left its mark. The truth is, it's not actually the ad that everyone is worried about. What people are truly terrified of is this. Is an A-list star like Yang Mi caught in the middle of some kind of dangerous vortex that we just can't see? After everything that happened with Yu Mang Long, fans are understandably on edge. Everyone's nerves are just completely fried right now. Regarding the Yu Mang Long case, the official verdict was that it was just a tragic accident involving alcohol. But on the ground, people aren't buying it. The whispers of doubt just won't go away. The internet is a breeding ground for rumors right now. Everything from talk of unspoken rules and systemic bullying to total control and even those dark whispers about human offerings. Internet sleuths recently uncovered a lead that is as crucial as it is devastating. It's about his dogs. As many of you know, Yu Mang Long had 2 dogs he absolutely adored, Fuli and Huo Tui. To him, they weren't just pets, they were family. But after digging through old posts and tiny details, a lot of people are now convinced that Huo Tui was actually killed possibly as far back as before September 2020. And the dog that appeared after that, it was just a double. I know, it sounds like a total conspiracy theory, right? But let's take a look at the evidence the internet has dug up. First up, the physical traits and expressions just don't match. Back in 2019, Huo Tui was incredibly active and full of life. He'd even pull this little grin for the camera. But starting in 2020, the dog in the photos looks completely different. Its expression is just blank. It looks stiff and lifeless. And that emotional bond he had with Yu Menglong, it was just gone. There was absolutely no connection between them anymore. When people side-by-sided the photos, they noticed something strange. Under bright lighting, 2019 Huo Tui had a distinctly grayish nose, but the dog in the 2020 photos had a nose that was jet black. And if you look closely at the face shape, the eyes, and even the overall posture, everything is just off. This is the part that truly breaks your heart. Based on Weibo posts from Yu Mang Long's former assistant, Mengmeng Xiaobao, it's clear that back in 2020, his agency, Tianyu, began systematically breaking him down and suppressing him. During his Meet You performance in Zhengzhou back in August 2020, it was clear that something was seriously wrong with Yu Mang Long. His eyes were bloodshot and welling up with tears, and you could hear his voice audibly trembling. Not long after that, during a live stream in October, his eyes were bloodshot again. He stared straight into the camera and said one thing that no one expected. What did he actually mean by that? If his dog was perfectly fine, why would he need to say, "I'm sorry"? Throughout the entire live stream, he kept glancing nervously at the staff off camera. At one point, while responding to a comment, his voice suddenly spiked as he blurted out something else. Was he trying to lash out at the fans? I don't think so. To me, it looked like he was snapping at the people who were actually pulling his strings. Starting in March 2020, Yu Mang Long completely stopped posting photos with his dogs on Weibo. It wasn't until Lunar New Year 2021 that a so-called family photo finally surfaced. But the composition felt totally off. He was visibly much closer to Fuli than the other dog. Because of this, netizens have started to speculate that in order to force Yu Mang Long into a contract renewal or to make him fall in line, the agency resorted to extreme control, even going as far as killing his beloved dog, Huo Tui. The theory is that they then brought in a look-alike dog just to throw the public off the scent. And the worst part is, Yu Mang Long was fully aware of everything happening, but he was completely powerless to stop it. All he could do was drop subtle cries for help and coded apologies during his live streams. That's why it's so easy to see why, after his passing, so many people are left feeling restless, and why this reality is so incredibly hard to swallow. People aren't gonna stop demanding the truth and fighting for justice, because this has gone way beyond simple workplace bullying. This was mental torture. This was about trampling someone's dignity into the ground. An industry insider recently exposed the shocking dark side of art schools, showing us that this kind of control actually takes root from the very beginning. They even mentioned a case where a professor from a music conservatory ended up turning himself in and confessing to everything.
据说啊，这个人睡了他的一个女学生，又睡了女学生他妈，然后还张口问他们要再给我个10几万。
这属于这三重龌龊。
人钱我都要，然后这个女学生她爸知道了，杀到学校来了，结果他先去自首去了。他这个自首呀，是他意识到他的错误吗？
肯定是被逼无奈。
你只能说这货他是个惯犯，
没错。
只是这次玩翻车了。他如果不是个惯犯，他不至于恶劣卑劣到如此，胆大妄为到这种地步。
对对对，
证明他以前什么啊？4个字，屡屡得手。
Why do these professors have so much power? Because they aren't just holding your grades over your head, they hold your entire future and your livelihood in their hands. They're the ones who decide if you graduate, if you get into a major gallery, or if you ever get an introduction to a big-name director. And the source who leaked this didn't hold back. They were incredibly blunt about it.
现在都已经不叫师生恋了，现在的叫什么呀？现在的是权力、权色交易，它是一种赤裸裸的交易关系。
What's even more chilling is the spiral of silence. When a blogger shared a video exposing an art professor's predatory behavior toward a 7-year-old student, not a single faculty member liked the post. Why? Because of a shared sense of guilt. Either they've all done it, or they've stood by and let these rules exist. It's created this vicious cycle. Students are forced to trade their souls for a future, teachers abuse their power without a second thought, and parents stay silent, terrified that speaking out will ruin their child's career. Imagine these kids are fed this toxic culture before they even graduate. By the time they hit the entertainment industry and face the crushing weight of corporate control, how much fight is even left in them? Yu Mang Long fought back, and because he did, he paid the ultimate price. A teacher, reflecting on his case, shared a haunting thought. He said that in class, he teaches his students about integrity, honesty, and the noble spirit of Wen Tianxiang. But deep down, he feels a cold dread. He's afraid that by teaching them to be good people, he's just preparing them to slam headfirst into a cold, cruel reality until they're broken and bleeding.
我不是于朦胧的粉丝，我今天也不是要为他发声，而是作为一个普通人，为我自己发声。作为一名教师，我正陷入一种深刻的教学困境。当我站在讲台上传授善良、勤奋、正直、梦想这些被千年文化淬炼过的词汇时，内心深处却涌起一阵寒意。我今日所教授的这些，能否真正帮助孩子们在未来的社会中立足成人？会不会反而让他们带着天真的期待，撞上现实冰冷的墙壁
？If the fall of an individual is a tragedy, then the castration of a culture is a catastrophe. Recently, I saw a deeply moving interview with veteran actor Tang Guoqiang. He pointed out that his films about Yan Zhenqing and others' works on historical figures like Su Dongpo and Li Qingzhao can't even make it to the screen anymore. Instead, our screens are flooded with stories of romance, murder, and conspiracy. The host suggested that this might just be a phase, a form of rebellion against the past. But Tang Guoqiang's response hit home. Rebellion should be aimed at what has gone wrong or become excessive. You can't rebel against what is right. If we rebel against our own national traditions, the loss will be immeasurable. In the end, we'll simply lose our way.
道德是有传承的，它是有根有源的。你这个源头都没有了，我自己另起炉灶，最后的结果是个悲剧啊。
And now, Hong Kong is facing the exact same issues as mainland China. The latest film by Hong Kong director Chow Kun-wai, The Suicide Notice, was recently banned by the authorities on the grounds that it was contrary to national security. But what is the film actually about? It's a story about the crushing pressure of the education system and a deep reflection and critique of the roles that families and schools play in it. In what world does that threaten national security? No one has bothered to give an explanation. When legendary director Johnny Tu was asked about this at an awards ceremony, he just gave a cold smile and said, "It's not strange at all. Are you guys seriously still surprised by this?" Think about it from the historical truths being censored on the mainland to the real-world issues being silenced in Hong Kong. When a society no longer allows a conversation about truth or any reflection on how we educate our children, and all that's left is empty entertainment. Like palace intrigue and conspiracy dramas, doesn't real life itself eventually become the ultimate arena for intrigue? After talking about all of this, I honestly feel incredibly heavy-hearted. From the cryptic signals coming from Yang Mi's camp, to that apology from Yu Menglong, the one he never got to finish, all of this feels like a sign that the world and this entire industry is deeply broken. Even so, I want to leave you with a quote from that teacher to close out today. To me, these words carry an incredible amount of power.
真正的光明教育不是对黑暗的视而不见，而是培养在黑暗中识别微光、创造微光的能力。我要守护的不是有标准答案的试卷，而是一副有文化硬度与生命弹性共同锻打的脊梁。
Yu Mang Long may be gone, but the ripples he left behind are still felt today. We're not talking about this for the sake of clicks or sensationalism. We're talking about it so that we don't forget. What do you think? Do you believe the full truth about Yu Mang Long will ever come to light? And how do you feel about the entertainment industry lately? It just seems to be getting stranger and more unsettling by the day. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for sticking with me through this case. If you're still watching this, maybe you're looking for the same thing I am.